There's a broad theory in management, which is called the resource-based view, which talks about the resources or capabilities required. And that theory has been extended to environmental sustainability. And what's unique about this extension to environmental sustainability is precisely that connection between what happens internally within the organization, but also the external world. In Birks' case, for instance, how does it work with suppliers and buyers? So that supply chain management comes into the picture for building capabilities or building strengths within the company.
For most companies that would embark on a sustainability initiative for their company, number one is that you have to have clearly direction and support from top management, president, CEO, principal shareholders, all stakeholders in the company. And I think once that culture is established, the rest of the organization follows suit.
Few people realize the long-standing efforts and work that must be put in terms of lining up all the chips, all the puzzle of the pieces in order to take an initiative like this to the market. So I think Birks really has to be applauded for taking the lead within an industry that is not really well known for being proactive on these issues.
And then it's about extending that culture to your key suppliers. They have to embrace the same value system that we have. They have to have the same champions within their organization that support sustainability, ethical sourcing, maintenance of the environment. And we also have to be sure that we only will choose to do business with those companies that share those values. There may be companies that produce less expensively or may be more accessible to us, but it's really important for us to cull through those folks to make sure that we have consistency in our product line as it reaches the case line, and that the consistency extends into our supplier community.
And so what Birks did really well is that they got into this game very, very early on in the process. So they were part of the entire, Blood Diamonds movement. And in Canada in particular, they developed that skill very early on of working with sustainable gold, for instance. Now, why were they able to do that? They have some advantages. They brought in experts. They were also able to do it because they're a smaller company. So whereas a Walmart or Tiffany's can do it because they can exert pressure on suppliers, in Birks' case, they were not able to do that, but what they did have is that they need less gold, so they can work with the smaller mines. The smaller mines might want to stand out a little bit from other mines, and their competitive advantage from the mine's point of view is to have a sustainable practice.
So Botswana is an important country, for diamond mining and for diamond procurement. What's really compelling with Botswana and why Birks and Mayors has embraced it is the fact that the Botswana government has really used this precious commodity to their advantage to improving roads, schools, and really all aspects of the social system. It's really, I think, an enormous success story about how people's purchase of a luxury item that contains a Botswana diamond really goes back to benefiting the Botswana country and its people.
Amongst shareholders, for instance, in Europe, we've seen things like pension funds in the UK being mandated to take a very long-term investment horizon, and what that means is sustainability. And that's a very different view from the traditional, very myopic shareholder view that shareholders want to know the next quarter's return because that's what matters.
We all are living the rest of the world much more closely to our own lives through the internet, and we need to feel better about ourselves fundamentally. And so the more luxurious the good gets, like a diamond from Birks or a gold band, the more you have to cater to the identity of the person. And if you're not going to cater to an identity that's emerging that relates to sustainability, they're not going to buy from you.
There's a challenge here. It's one thing to have produced these lines of jewelries and so on, but I think here this is not a case of if you build it, they will come. The company really has to step up and more assertively market and promote this line of sustainable products, so to speak. More assertively, but certainly with the tact, the savoir-faire and the class that we've come to associate from the Birks brand, that's for sure. We got to be respectful of what Birks stand for, but at the same time, I think they should make a bigger deal of what they've done, because the danger here, let's not forget that a good idea attracts imitators. And so the danger here is that a larger competitor perhaps does the same thing and is able to put more marketing dollars or has bigger marketing muscles and is able to make a bigger splash and steal the thunder from Birks.
There's always benefit to merging the academic community with the business community. I think that we could help the academic community by providing practical insight and what the challenges are on a day-to-day basis. I think in turn, though, a company like ours certainly benefits by having some of the best minds, in Canada and in the world that could help us in solving problems. So it really becomes one where I think it's mutually beneficial.